Sheikh, I have a question.
Yes.
How can we balance the different family relationships?
Subhanallah. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Actually, this is a very important question. I get asked this question a lot, and many people are struggling to deal with this issue specifically because we understand that the family is the most sensitive part in a Muslim's life, in a normal man's life. And if there are problems in the family, you'll find that these problems will be carried on to the work that he does, to the worship that he does. He's unable to worship properly, he's unable to do his work properly because he's always stressed. And by the way, if you have problems at work or outside the house, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the house. But if you have problems in the house, how will you flee from your house? You don't have any other place. So, subhanAllah, that's why, having a healthy family relationship is extremely important for everyone, not just for a Muslim, for every single person. So you asked me, how do we balance? And actually, that's a very wise question because you have realized that it has to do with balance. Because if you give one part of the family so much time, you might neglect others. And this is, going to be causing you a problem one way or another. So you said, how do we balance the different relationships in the family, which is excellent. Now, one might say, looking at a family, we have first and foremost the parents. Now let's talk from an Islamic point of view. We have the priority or precedence is given to the parents, and we also have the rights, of your spouse, husband and wife, and we have your children, and each one of them have rights upon you. Subhanallah. And for you to be a good Muslim, you have to give everyone his rights. So it's not about you, out of your way, going out of your way, giving everyone his rights. No, it's part of your religion. It's part of your iman, your faith, to give everyone his right. Subhanallah, many people do not understand this aspect. They think that, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, I have not created jinn and mankind except for worship. Yeah, our objective definitely is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they do not, what they do not understand is that what is worship? It is obeying the commands of Allah. Like, what did Allah command us to do? Allah commanded us to be what? Dutiful towards our parents. So if you're dutiful towards your parents, you have what? Worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you take care of your family, take care of your wife, if you take care of your kids, that is what? That is worship. So you don't do it because you have to do it. No, you do it because this is a worship. And you seek reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for these actions that you do. So first and foremost, let's talk about parents. Your parents, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them the cause of you being in existence. How can they be not important to you? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded you to take care of your parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Take care of them, be dutiful towards them. And the man asked the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who's the people or who should I give most of my time, the best of my companionship? He said, your mother. And then he asked again, he said, your mother. And then he asked again, he said, your mother. The fourth time he said, your father. No one else. So parents, obviously, they should be given the best of your time. So you should take care of them, be dutiful towards them. Now, a man who's married, who has kids, who has a wife, still, does he still have obligations towards his parents? Yes. If your parents are in need financially, you take care of them. If, alhamdulillah, financially everything is sufficed, then you have to take care of them emotionally. And many people struggle with this. Say, I'm busy with my wife and kids. How do I take care of my parents? Yeah, nowadays things have been made much, much, much easier than it was before. Stay in contact with them. If you call them, listening to what they have to say. Many of the parents, especially, may Allah preserve them once they get old, what do they want? They only want to hear your words. They only want you to be, in a good place and subhanAllah, happy and everything is good on your life. This is what makes them happy. So you find them talking to you, they just want to say good things to you. They might tell you a story that they heard. They might tell you, subhanAllah, what they're going through. So if they're talking to you like this, if they're telling you, subhanAllah, we saw on the news this and this happening. SubhanAllah, yesterday I heard my neighbor. You just listen. You listening to them, is SubhanAllah giving them your time. This is something that brings happiness to their hearts. So by doing this, you're dutiful towards them. Of course, if they needed your help physically, you have to go and, attend to them. But if you're unable because you're busy, at least you take care of them. If they required, for example, a maid, you take care of the expenses. And subhanAllah, every now and then, you go and meet them, you take your family to them, and make them feel special, make them feel happy. Now, this is regarding your parents.
Sheikh, what about the husband and wife?
Oh, طيب, subhanallah. Now, okay, makes sense. Yes, we spoke about the parents. Now we talk about the most sensitive part of this, which is the relationship between the husband and wife. Subhanallah. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala command us towards, our wives? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وعاشروهن بالمعروف فإن كرهتموهن فعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا ويجعل الله فيه خيرا كثيرا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, live with them in what? In kindness. Live with them in kindness, not just be kind to them. No, your whole life with them should be in kindness. And this is the beauty of the style of the Quran, the eloquence. وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Live with them in kindness. Your whole life with them should be in kindness. How you treat them should be in kindness. If there's a dispute, there should still be kindness with them. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, someone might say, no, but my wife, she has flaws. My husband has flaws. Everyone has flaws. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala late after this said, فَإِن كَرِهْتُمُوهُنَّ. If you dislike something about them, فَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. You might dislike something, in their character. You might dislike something. No one is perfect. I have flaws, brother. You have flaws. We all have flaws. No one is perfect. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَإِن كَرِهْتُمُوهُنَّ فَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. You might dislike something in them, but because of this thing that you dislike, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might put a lot of khair in your relationship. This is just a general advice. That's why the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا يفرق مؤمن مؤمنا. A believing man does not hate a believing woman. Why? Because عسى فإن كرهتمون فعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا ويجعل الله فيه خيرا كثيرا. The Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam later said that surely there is something in her that you might like. Surely there is something in her that you might like. And no one is, of course, the husband and wife, they know a lot about each other. The husband is the expert regarding the wife, and the wife is the expert regarding the husband. And they both know a lot about each other. So it doesn't make sense that you only concentrate on the bad things. Surely there are some things in your spouse that you like and that you respect. And this is very normal. So we say balance here between the husband and wife is to live with them in kindness and to be patient. We're human. Sometimes we get happy, sometimes we get sad, sometimes we get angry. This is just part of who we are, especially in this very stressful life that we're busy with work, we're busy with relationships outside the house, and we try to manage everything and try to balance everything. Obviously, there might be some misunderstandings here and there. That's very normal. You might have a bad day. I might have a bad day. My wife might have a bad day. So I have to take this into consideration, remembering that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told me to live with them in kindness. She might be sick. I might be sick. I might oversleep. I might not sleep at all. I might be taking care of my, young son. He's sick. So there might be a lack of sleep, which might affect my relationship with my wife. My wife, subhanAllah, could be giving birth soon, or she's in the final stages of pregnancy, or she just gave birth and her sleep is all mixed up. And subhanAllah, she might require extra care. This is part of living with them in kindness. This is how a believing man should be with a believing woman. And our example is the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And of course, when we look at some of the relationships, the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to the people, خيركم خيركم لأهله. The best amongst you are those best to his families. أنا وأنا خيركم لأهلي. And I'm the best to my family. So this is how a husband should be. You shouldn't give the best of your time to people outside the house and neglect your wife. Wallah, she deserves more. She's the one who stood by you. She's the one who takes care of the kids. Even if she has a job, she's the one responsible for you, and you should be the one responsible for her. So no matter how busy you are, you should definitely have the best of your time. طيب.
Sheikh, now the hard part.
The hard part.
How do we give our kids their time?
Well, you're right. It is the hard part. It's the hardest part, actually. Look, brother, we have to understand something very important. We are responsible towards our kids. We are responsible towards our kids. And the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. Every one of you is a shepherd and he's responsible for his flock. So we have to take care of them. We're responsible for them. And not just responsible for them. Some people think that responsible for them as in, providing for them and putting them in the best schools and all this. Yeah, this is part of it, but also responsible for bringing them up, raising them up in a proper Islamic way. This is what we're told. We have to teach them the morals. They might not get the morals from outside the house. So you're responsible for this. If you're unable, this is the responsibility of the husband and wife. Now, what we want to talk about here is balance, is giving them some of your time. Some might say, I barely see them. No problem. When you come home, when you eat dinner, sit with them. Even while eating. Sheikh, sometimes all they want is to see your face, is to be with them. You don't need to engage in complex arguments and discussions. No, just sit with them. Eat together, eat dinner together, and laugh. Talk about anything. Any conversation, ya akhi, is a good conversation because they want to feel that you're there. Your presence should be felt. And this is not a presence, that inflicts fear into their hearts. No, this is a presence that they should feel that my father, the one who's responsible for me, is with us. I see him on a daily basis. This protects them from so many things. This instills the love in their hearts that my father, who's always busy, he's dedicated to his work, he does this, he sacrifices a lot for us. And at the time when we sit together, no devices, no phones, no iPads, nothing. Even if you just sit and look at each other eating silently, I prefer this over everyone sitting looking at his phone or iPad or whatever. And engage in any discussion, ya akhi. Open any discussion. How was school? How was work? Today I saw your friend. I saw your friend's father. Any discussion is good discussion. If you're able to do this 3-4 times per week on work days, this will be more than enough. And of course, on weekends, do any activity together. Do any activity. This is, subhanAllah, just to summarize all these relationships. Wallahu alam.